How's it going, gang? It's Justin here, and we're back with another episode in our 2018 Ram 2500 project, in which we're making some smart upgrades to this pickup to ensure its reliability and versatility for more miles to come. That's because for many of us, buying a new truck every few years simply isn't an option. So we need to keep our rig running well enough to pull day in and day out work duty. So even though this Ram has its fair share of miles, there's still plenty of life left in it, and we're going to show you how with the right parts and with a little bit of elbow grease, it can make a huge difference in your pickup. So the first install on our list of exterior upgrades is going to be a tonneau cover, and we went ahead and chose an Access slant back tonneau cover for our truck. Now there's a lot going on in the tonneau cover market. There's lots of options like soft rolling, hard folding, soft folding, retractable, and hard covers. So we're going to give you guys a little bit of information about each and their pros and cons and why we went with a soft rolling. So let's start off with folding tonneau covers. If you have a soft folding tonneau cover, they're really great, but one of the issues that we have is it covers the bed pockets, so we're not going to be able to use a bed rack with it. The other issue is when you need to use your full bed space, the thing only folds up to about 1/3 of a quarter of complete bed space. So you're losing a couple feet, and if you only have a 6-foot bed truck, that's 1/3 of the bed. That's a lot. So then next is hard covers. Now hard covers offer the most security and protection, but they're hard, they're heavy, and you can't really get them off easily if you need to use your truck bed. Then you have retractable tonneau covers, and these things are awesome and they're super convenient, but if you're unrolling it all the time and rolling it back up and using your bed, one of the issues you'll find is if you have a little bit of a snafu loading some stuff and you dent the roll tube, a lot of the times it leaves them inoperable and you gotta replace it. So we went with a soft rolling cover for the simple fact that we can open up our whole bed space and it's completely usable, and it stores nice away in the front. Now with hard folding covers, they do fold all the way out of the way, but usually you have to lean them up and it blocks the back window, so it's less than ideal because you can't see your load. Now it's important to note that if you do have a bed liner, you're going to want to use an adhesion promoter to stick this seal on, because otherwise it's not going to seal. We also see some guys sand their bed liner a little bit flat to get a better seal. So either way, if you have a bed liner, you need to do something about it because the seal is not going to stick just to the bed liner itself. So that's all clean. Let's get the seal on. So now we're going to go ahead and throw our roll on. So now we got our roll clamped on, but it's just loosely clamped on, so I'm going to grab a 1/2-inch wrench and get those tight and then get our adjusters attached. So we're almost ready to unroll our tonneau cover. We went ahead and got our adjusters all tightened up and adjusted and bolted to the rail. So we got all ours all ready to go, and now we can go ahead and unroll this thing. Yeah, you can see this thing's nice and tight. Now we're going to go down the sides and attach the Velcro, and we're all done. Now this thing is nice and tight, and the last thing we have to do before we truly finish our install is install a couple of these tailgate seals. Now these are super easy to do and they stick on in just a couple of seconds. So let's get that done and get this actually buttoned up. So we went ahead and got our seal trimmed to size. So we got our seals installed, and that basically finishes up our tonneau cover install. Now one thing I want to touch on is tonneau cover care. Now you're going to want to use Access Cover Care to keep your tonneau cover in great condition. Now with this done, I'm ready to move on to another cool Access product called the Access Adarac. And the Adarac is a ladder rack system that comes in both a high and low profile, but it's easily installable and removable. It's perfect for our needs when we need to haul stuff that we can take it on and off with ease. So let's get to it. So we're here at our bed rail ready to install our Adarac. Now I went ahead and did a little pre-assembly here, but I'm gonna run you guys through what I did. So when you get these rails, there's a plastic cap in each end you need to install, but before you install those, you need to go ahead and slide these little bolt tabs in. Now these bolt tabs are awesome because it gives you the ability to put your rack wherever you need it. So say you have something you need to put on the front, but you need your open bed space in the back, you can go ahead and slide your rack all the way to the front and haul something that way. It also gives you the adjustability at different spans, so it doesn't matter what you're hauling, you're gonna be able to put it on your rack. Now our rack's attached by this cool aluminum puck system, and I'm gonna show you guys how to put one of these together. So you take your piece of rope here, you feed it through the biggest puck first. This is the one that's gonna actually lock it to the truck. Followed by these two smaller ones. Now with those together, I'm just going to take the top, tie a little baby knot, that's good to go. Now to install one of these, what you're going to do is you're going to hold the two smaller tabs up and kind of put this one in the bed pocket sideways. Then you just slide the two pucks on the top like this. Then we're going to actually install the other two first and then put our system on. So you simply can just leave this rope hang out. Set our rail on there like this. I'm actually going to start here in the middle. What we're going to do, feed our rope through the slot in the bar. Use that to pull this up and get our bolt started. So what we're actually doing here is that the puck we inserted earlier is actually larger than the stake pocket hole. So what we're doing is threading that bolt in the top, and then that's sandwiching this rail between that and the bed rail. So it's going to give us a nice secure deal. So now that we have all three bolts in and inserted, we're going to go ahead and throw the other side on as well and then get our cross sections on. So I'm going to go do that and then we'll get the rest of this Adarac installed. So I went ahead and got the other side thrown on. Now I'm going to tighten this one up. I'm going to grab my electric ratchet here. Now with both rails secured, we can start putting in our cross sections. So now we're ready to install our crossover mounts and crossover bars. Now I've already gone ahead and done a little pre-assembly here and got this top bar started in the top. Now these come in two different sizes. They come in the short ones like we have here, and they also have some cab height ones. So to mount these little adjustable inserts that we put in earlier, so to basically find one of those, and thread your bolts in. So we're gonna wait to fully tighten these till we get our crossbars on. There's one built. Now with all 4 of these on, we can go ahead and put our crossbars on. So we got this thing slid into place. We're gonna go ahead and get our other one done and then slide our rack to where we'd like them and get them cinched down. So now we're gonna slide these into place and get them cinched down. Now we got our front one slid all the way up and we have this back one back here. Now we're gonna go ahead and tighten these things down. So our end caps are held on by a bolt and a nut plate, and we're just gonna take these, get our bolts started in them, and then slide them in the ends and tighten them down. So our Adarac is done and all installed, and we can't wait to use this thing. It came out great. Now we're gonna go ahead and install our tow mirrors on our truck. So let's get to that. So now we're ready to install our tow mirrors. So before we do that, we need to go ahead and yank our door panel off, get our factory mirror unbolted, and get our new K-Source mirror bolted on. So we have our door panel removed, and we need to go ahead and remove a couple of these wire holders, then unplug our mirror and get our mirror unbolted. So I'm just gonna grab our plug tool here, kind of work these out. So I just want to show you guys a couple of new highlights of our new mirrors. We have this cool built-in already adjustable spot mirror. It's still a power mirror, which is awesome, but it also has a cool marker light and courtesy light in the bottom so you can see when you get out of the truck. So let's get these things on. Now don't worry when you guys go to plug these in, these plugs only fit in one way, so you're not going to get them backwards. And that's also something cool, is that these slots are already here, so there's no wiring involved. It's just simply plug and play. So if you have stock manual mirrors and you go to plug into this, you can add these, and it's actually like an upgrade to your truck. You just need to get a power mirror switch, the power mirrors, and then your truck's equipped. So with our mirror installed, we can go ahead and put our door panel back on. So we got our mirror install finished up on this side. I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one tidied up as well. Now I can't wait to drive this thing with these tow mirrors, because if you ever drove one of these Dodges with the tow mirrors on it, it absolutely changes the game when towing a trailer. And not to mention, it's kind of fun because they look like moose antlers. I mean, you just gotta love those. This thing's gonna look like Bowinkle going down the road, but I'm gonna love every minute of it. And they're really easy to flip in and out, so when you're not towing, you can flip them in, and then as soon as you throw your trailer on, easy just like that. Now, I will give you guys a little piece of advice. If you're using this in the winter, I'm gonna recommend checking to make sure there's no ice or anything around the rotating joint, because a lot of these mirrors, when it gets cold out and you get ice in there and you try to force them up, you do risk breaking the mirror. So that's something important to look into, to make sure there's nothing in this joint when you're flipping these things up and down. So now we're ready to install our step bars, and the first thing we need to do is install the brackets, and they're held on by these little Z brackets. So we're gonna locate the holes underneath the body, start at the back and work our way forward and get these all installed. So we're gonna go ahead and install our Z bracket just like that. It lines up with these two holes down here. Now, depending on what model of truck you have, sometimes these come factory equipped with nutserts already in these holes. And if you have that, you don't have to use these Z brackets, but in most cases, you're gonna have to use these. Now to mount these, they're gonna hang on the top of this bracket here, and they're gonna be secured by these little T-brackets. And these slide in this aluminum track right here in the bottom. So now our step bar is hung. We're gonna get this thing secured with a couple bolts. We'll get both sides lined up and then get the wiring started. So we have both of our step bars installed, and we went ahead and got these things both aligned so they match on each side. With that done, now we're gonna go ahead and tighten all our hardware. So now we're under the truck and we're ready to plug our power steps in, and also our nice little light here. Now we added that little bracket earlier in the video, and that's where our light's gonna mount. So we're just gonna slide that through here, get the nut started and get this thing all tightened up. So we got our light installed. Now we're gonna plug everything in, tuck all this stuff up out of the way, and get it secured. So now that we have our back seat out, it's time to start running our wiring harness for our power steps. So we folded back our carpet here, and on each side we have these plastic plugs that go through the bottom of the body, and we're gonna run our wires through the top of these plastic plugs to connect to our boards. So now we're ready to install our first door sensor switch, and these are what allow the step bars to know if a door is open and that they need to be activated. So we're going to mount our switch right here below our door pin, and we already cleaned this area with alcohol, so we're going to take one of our little 3M strips, stick it to the back of our sensor, and then we're going to run our wires under our door seal and then connect it to our wiring harness. So now we're just going to take our sensor, get this stuck right below our door pin, peel back our door seal here, and just like that, our first door switch is installed. So now we're gonna get this plugged into our harness, and then we're gonna install a couple more door switches. So if you saw earlier in the video, we attached some small switches under our door strikers, and the big question is how is it going to know when the doors are open so we can activate the power steps? Well, the way we're going to do that is it comes with these cool little neodymium magnets that you're going to go ahead and 3M sticky tape below the latches here. And on the rears, you're going to measure a 1/2 inch down and a 1/2 inch over, and that's where your magnet's going to go. So we got our trusty Milwaukee tape and a marker, and we're going to mark these, make sure we like where they are, and then stick them on. So let's get to it. So I've gone ahead and checked our magnet position a couple times, and I really like it. So I'm going to go ahead and peel the paper off the back of our 3M dot and stick this thing in place. So we went ahead and peeled the backing off our tape. And now that thing is good to go. So let's get the other 3 done, and then we're about ready to test out our steps. We really just have to hook this thing up to the battery. So now we need to hook up our power and ground wire to our battery. So what we're going to do is we're going to attach our power wire here and our ground here. So I'm going to undo this 10mm nut. And we've gone ahead and pulled the fuse out of our fuse holder, so we don't have to worry about powering this thing up quite yet. So with the wires hooked up out here, all we have to do is head inside the truck, get them plugged in, get our switch plugged in, throw our fuse in our fuse holder here when we're ready, and we can test these steps out finally. So now we're finishing up our little bit of cab wiring, and we went ahead and added a switch to this panel here. And this switch's primary purpose is if this truck's gonna sit when we're not using it, we're gonna wanna turn this off so our power steps don't drain our battery on our truck. So we just need to connect our power and ground, connect our 3 wires to the back of the switch, and then we're all ready to go. So we finished up our wiring inside the cab. Now it's time to get our fuse installed. And let's test these things out. Now it's ready for the moment of truth and ready to see these things in action. So open up our door, and there you have it. They come down really fast. Then you close your door and right back up out of the way. Now one more test. Let's see how tough they really are. Well, they held me, so that's something. And one of the features I really like about these is that it's almost like 2-step. So if you have your kids getting in the truck, or say you're giving granddad a ride, you know, he has an extra step to jump in the truck. So it's not as big as a gap, and it's gonna make it a little bit easier. So until next time, make sure to like and subscribe to the Summit Racing YouTube channel and punch that notification bell so you don't miss out on any of the action. I'm Justin with Summit Racing. I'll see you guys later.